Autosumie and then you're at Yamadaroma, Mutie Matthew Ross, Sabri,
and adopted children, and have a foreign branches, and then Inum and a kind it's not Namiadoma, a better also a Independence Square. It's a share as
you, Omanisha Monsumbi, Monsia Sabi, Mondembi, a bray and doing. Epia na sebi previa sebi binti went me amma enkramochina ye bompa so bi o habeti maba na so me awa manti ni ochina binti ontimi manti ebeti ye papa no apapasem. So distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to take the biography of our dear father and patriarch, Apostle Emeritus Engineer Dr. Safo Kantanka. Let's receive them with a resounding round of applause.
Safo Kantanka. A life of faith, innovation, leadership, and African renaissance. For we know that if the earthly tent we live in is destroyed, we have a building for God, an eternal house in heaven, not built by humans. That is 2 Corinthians 5, verse 1. A life beyond the ordinary. History occasionally produces individuals whose lives transcend the boundaries of their generation and whose influence continues to shape the destiny of nations long after their departure. Such was the life of Ordinary Apostle Emeritus Professor Engineer Safo Kantanka, a revered spiritual leader, visionary inventor, indigenous industrialist, philanthropist, educator, Pan-African thinker, and nation builder, whose remarkable contributions left an illegible mark on Ghana, Africa, and the global African community. His passing on 11th September 2025 marked the end of an extraordinary earthly journey, but his legacy remains firmly embedded in the spiritual, technological, and socio-economic development of Ghana and beyond. Birth and royal patrilineal heritage. Ordinary Apostle Professor Engineer Safo Kantanka was born on Monday, 26 August 1912, into the illustrious Royal Ebiana of Esubunya Asante Maso in the Ashanti region of Ghana. His ancestry is linked to the revered royal line associated with Ohima, Safuwa, and the historic Ebiana protocol heritage that occupies a significant place in the traditional history of the Accra people. Through his mother, Oba Penny Nana Kosia Monima of the Agona family lineage in the Amansi area, he inherited a distinguished matrilineal heritage deeply rooted in the ancient traditions, leadership structures, and cultural foundations of Asante Mine. His father, Nana Safo was also a respected member of the Royal Abiana Lineage of Esumenya. His grandparents were Nana Safo Jabo and Abrewa Anochiwa, whose values of resilience, dignity, and communal responsibility helped shape the family's enduring legacy. Family accounts recount that unusual signs accompanied his birth. It is said that a rainbow encircled the infant shortly after his arrival into the world, an occurrence later confirmed by his elder sister. Throughout his life, Apostle Safo regarded this phenomenon as symbolic of the covenant established between God and humanity through Noah, viewing it as a divine affirmation of purpose and destiny. Early childhood and formative years. The years following his birth were characterized by frequent movements across various settlements. His family relocated to Esumenya, to Kwapon, Go, and Kensington before eventually settling at Numensu near Duba, Anofin. These movements, undertaken largely by safety and stability, exposed the young Safo to diverse communities, environments, and experiences that would later shape his worldwide and deepen his appreciation for the resilience and ingenuity of ordinary people. Even as a child, he demonstrated unusual intelligence, curiosity, and creativity. Those who encountered him in life observed a remarkable ability to transform simple materials into objects of practical value and beauty. The ancient heritage of Asante Manso. Apostle Safo maintained throughout his life a profound connection to the historical traditions of Asante Manso, which is widely regarded in Akan oral tradition as the cradle of the Akan people. He often drew upon ancestral narratives describing the migration of African peoples through ancient civilizations before their eventual settlement in the forest belt of present-day Ghana. For him, these traditions represented more than history. They embodied a collective memory of preservance, civilization, and divine purpose. As a proud Eduanani and son of Asantema, he viewed African history through a lens of dignity and restoration. He believed that Africa possessed a rich intellectual, spiritual, and technological heritage that must be rediscovered and harnessed for future development. This conviction would later become a cornerstone of his teachings and developmental philosophy. Education and the emergence of an inventive mind. His formal education began at Bom Methodist Primary School in 1922. From an early age, he displayed extraordinary artistic and mechanical abilities. Using bamboo, raffia, wood, and discarded materials, he constructed miniature aeroplanes, vehicles, trains, and mechanical devices that astonished both teachers and fellow pupils. His creations earned admiration and recognition during school exhibitions and foreshadowed the innovative genius that would later define his life's work. Following the completion of his Standard 7 education in 1932, financial difficulties interrupted his academic progression. Refusing to surrender his ambitions, he sought opportunities elsewhere and eventually came under the mentorship of a French engineer and welder, Monsieur Chenez. Under his guidance, he rapidly acquired advanced welding and fabrication skills. His exceptional aptitude earned him opportunities for further technical training and exposure to engineering practices that broaden his horizons and lay the foundations for future innovations. Divine calling and spiritual mission. While technical excellence promised a successful professional career, Apostle Safo believed that God had prepared him for a higher purpose. Through profound spiritual experiences and divine revelations, he became convinced that his life's mission extended beyond engineering and invention to encompass the spiritual and material transformation of humanity. Responding to this calling, he dedicated himself to ministry and embarked upon what would become one of the most remarkable spiritual journeys in modern Ghanaian history. Arrival in Accra and the birth of Safo. On 5th January 1965, Apostle Safo arrived in Accra in a Mercedes-Benz vehicle bearing registration number AT8080. His early years in the capital city were marked by sacrifice and perseverance. He initially resided at Pehe near Paprice, spending several years around a fitting shop in the vicinity of the then Mexico Hotel. Subsequently, he lived in Alajo, Kwame Nkrumah Circle, Labadi, Kojo Sardine, Apoome, and eventually Accra Newtown, where he would later meet Madame Doris Safo, his beloved wife and lifelong partner. In October 1969, he began preaching in markets, railway stations, streets, and public spaces across Accra. What started with a handful of followers gradually evolved into his affirmation, a movement dedicated not only to spiritual renewal, but also to human development, self-reliance, and national transformation. Faith, science, and human development. One of Apostle Safo's most enduring contributions was his revolutionary belief that faith and development were inseparable. He taught that worship must be accompanied by productivity, innovation, and practical service to humanity. According to him, prayer without work could not transform societies. He consistently advocated a philosophy centered on discipline, creativity, education, science, engineering, and technology. His message was simple but profound. Work, work, work. He maintained that the future prosperity of Ghana and Africa depended not merely on spiritual devotion, but on the ability of citizens to innovate, manufacture, create employment, and solve societal problems through knowledge and industry. Industrial revolution and nation building. Guided by this philosophy, Apostle Safo established one of Africa's most remarkable indigenous development movements. Through Mr. Safo, he pioneered initiatives in engineering, automobile, manufacturing, agriculture, construction, education, healthcare, research, media, and technology. His vision challenged long-held assumptions about Africa's dependence on imported solutions and demonstrated that Africans possess the ingenuity and capacity to build world-class industries and institutions. His achievements earned admiration both within Ghana and internationally, cementing his reputation as one of Africa's foremost indigenous innovators. Technological innovations and industrial achievements. The industrial vision of Odeno Apostle Emeritus Professor Engineer Safo Kantanka was not merely theoretical. He translated his philosophy of self-reliance, creativity, and productivity into practical inventions and manufacturing enterprises that challenge prevailing perceptions about Africa's technological capabilities. Convinced that Ghana and Africa could only attain true development through indigenous innovation and industrialization, he dedicated decades of research and experimentation to developing technologies suited to local needs. Despite limited institutional support, he remains steadfast in his belief that Africans possess the ingenuity and intelligence to design, manufacture, and maintain their own technology. Through the Business Affirmation and the Kantanka group of companies, Apostle Safo established one of the most extensive indigenous technological movements in Africa. His annual technology exhibitions became national events that attracted government officials, academics, engineers, students, and members of the public from the continent. His innovations covered automobile engineering, electronics, agriculture, construction, manufacturing, and environmental technology. Automobile and electronic engineering innovations. Among the